Today, I will be interviewing my grandma on the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So first, where were you when it happened?
I was in my house. I was watching television. Your uncle was 10 months old at that time. And the television was on. I wasn't actually watching it, but suddenly I heard a newscaster, a very famous one, Walter Cronkite. And he was talking about something in which I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. So I went to look at the TV, and he is on the air, and something was wrong. So I changed channels, and somebody else was on. And then I changed channels again, and somebody else was on. And then I knew something bad had happened, but I still didn't know what because they were talking without saying what had happened.
All right. So what was your initial reaction when you found out that John F. Kennedy was
I
assassinated?
was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. Um, I called my neighbor. I said, "Is this really what happened?" And she said, "How stupid can you be?" Yes, it did. And so that uh, upset me greatly.
What happened to John F. Kennedy?
John F. Kennedy was in a motorcade with his wife, and they were in Dallas, Texas. And he had been warned, apparently, not to go to Dallas because there were a lot of dissidents there. But he ignored the warning because he was that kind of guy. And besides, he may have taken it seriously, but on the other hand, he was the president. He needed to go. And a fellow named Harvey, what's his name? Oswald. Yeah, Harvey Oswald. Is it Harvey? Yeah. Uh, they passed a book depository, and shots rang out, and Kennedy was shot in the head. And he didn't die right away, he died at the hospital.
How long did people go on to talk about the assassination?
Days and days and days.
Where was he shot?
Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas.
Um, was this immediately put on TV?
Yes, because the motorcade was going on, so people saw it on TV.
Who was John F. Kennedy at the time?
President of the United States.
What part of the day was Kennedy shot?
That I'm not sure. Must have been, it was probably early afternoon or very late morning. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember that one exactly. But I was home, and it was light outside, so it certainly happened during the day.
After Kennedy was shot.
The motorcades sped up to the Parkland Hospital in Dallas and pronounced him dead. Half of his head was blown away. Um, it was the whole nation was in shock. And his body was put in a coffin, and he was taken on Air Force One back to Washington. In the meantime, Lyndon B. Johnson became President of the United States, and he was sworn in to his office on the plane back to Washington. Okay.
What happened to Lee Harvey Oswald after he assassinated the president?
They caught him, and he was taken into the jail. And in the jail, they were going to question him, and this guy named Jack Ruby got into the jail and shot Lee Harvey Oswald and killed him right there in the jail. At that time, there were no precautions like there are now, and so that was another terrible situation, although nobody was upset about that, in that Lee Harvey Oswald had killed the president.
Who was Jack Ruby?
Jack Ruby was the guy. was a bar owner, I think, in Dallas, and a lot of people knew him, and he was so incensed that he just was able to walk into the police station and shoot Oswald.
What happened at the funeral for John F. Kennedy?
Well, it was very moving. Jackie Kennedy and her two children, John was, I guess, 2 or 3 years old at that point, and Caroline was, she must have been 5 or 6 years old, and it was a very moving picture to see her with her 2 little children. And one interesting aspect of it, at a presidential funeral, there's a riderless horse with the saddle backwards, as far as I can remember. And it was just very, very solemn. It was so solemn that it took us weeks to overcome the whole